And hello everyone, welcome to Sable's Worldforge. Yeah, I have got a lot to do today, and so I'm going to try to be pretty focused. For the rest of the first hour, this is going to be secret book stuff that I'm going to be working on. Largely because I got the first digital proof of the print book back, and I am starting the process of setting it up. I'm kind of on a tight schedule. I have to know what I'm going to charge for it based on its like dimensions and whatnot, which affects print cost. So yeah, I gotta know that in the next couple of days. But I already sent it back for corrections because there were a couple things that needed some minor adjustments. Overall, it's beautiful. It's gonna look great. The layout is really nice, very clear, very easy to follow. It should really be enjoyable. Yeah, and Sable calculator. I'm gonna need one for sure. Right, so we'll briefly say hi to everybody. Let's see if I can do that. Right, so hello Moon first in the chat. Right, let's see. Hello Chris. Hello Right Idea. Good to see you, Billy. Nice to see you, Chris. I missed your stream. I'm sorry. When do you stream? Right Idea. Tell me, because like I should be following you, but I'm not sure I am. Hello James. Big hugs to you too. All right, we had a showcase holding from Wednesday, right? And we have another showcase. That'll be hour 2. We'll be doing that. And then hour 3, I will be working on the challenge because I got to get it started. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And hello, Eli. Hello, Daz. Hi, Stretch. Good to see you. Especially because, you know, this ridiculous, you know, Haas person who has no life other than to harass people on Twitch. Like, seriously, the amount of time this guy must spend creating follow bots. Like, you know, I wrote a book in that time. Go get a life, you know? I'm starting to think I might start writing down all the Haas names that try to follow me on a whiteboard and putting it up so we can laugh at them routinely. Anyway, yep. Oh my god, what a tool. Okay. Yeah, you know, like seriously, go do something productive with your time, right? Hello, Natalia. Good to see you. Yeah. Alright. Right Idea says about midday UK time, I need to get a proper schedule set up, but just sorting my girlfriend's sewing room out so I don't kick her out of the bedroom. That makes sense. It's good to have a separate room you can stream in, for sure. Stretch says, there's a chance I may be writing and running a Halloween D&D Pathfinder one-shot. Nice! Cool, well, I'll come play. You can talk to me. That'd be fun. Daz says to TWI, to Billy, you should also give a UTC time for non-UK people to figure out when you're on, which is a difference of an hour, but people are dumb, right? It's an hour before whatever time it is in the UK for you. That's UTC right now. And then I think it's the same time in standard time. I'm not sure, but I'm starting to wonder if Haas is more than one person, to be honest. I don't know, right? Like, seriously. I banned another one around midnight last night. Yeah. I don't know. To be fair, compared to some people, I seem to be having less problems. I tend to get 1 a day, not 4. You know. I preemptively banned a bunch of names that I saw on Twitch. Why can't anybody create us a bot so you can just go ban anything that contains Haas and then ban anything that contains 00312? You know, it would just be so much easier and save so much time. It can't be that hard. You know, it can't be that hard. Yeah, Natalia says I'm not even started and I got 7. Yeah. There is, it's called Nuke. Will Nuke do that? That's cool. I thought it just nuked anything that appeared in the chat. I didn't realize it banned them too. That's great. Kahuna has a bot that does that. I'll hit him up. Satrium, get on it. I asked him. I asked him in the Game of Tomes organization channel if he could come up with such a thing. Right idea. We'll find out for those interested just to be safe. Awesome. And Eli's nomming yogurt. Sounds good. Yeah, oh, might be chat. Yeah, I think it's just the chat messages, which is also fine. But Kahuna's still building the bot. Cool. Okay, well, either way, the sooner we get that, the better. I don't know why Twitch can't do this. Right idea did 45k words. Excellent. Chapter 11, baby! That's excellent. Good job. Okay, I'm gonna get at my work here so that I'm ready to go for showcases by the end of the hour. So basically this will be half an hour of me screwing around with publication stuff. Billy says, I'm working on some old world building stuff as I watch the stream. Working on my money system. Money system's important. James is mapping. Cool. How many pages are you? That'd be 160, I think. Eli's still deciding what to do with their time. Daz says, I sort of cheated. I made a global value that doesn't have its own money, but is a standard all realms compare their own currencies with, created by merchants for trade purposes. Yeah, that makes sense. For instance, it takes 5 Bardican elf leaves to make 1 high crown. Okay, that's cool. That's not really cheating. I think the idea of having a standard is excellent. Stretch says, I personally just use whatever is built into the game, D&D, Pathfinder, etc. So it ends up gold, silver, just because I'm lazy. I sort of basically did that, only I gave them different names. The standard currency in known space for the Toy Soldier Saga is gold novae. That's the standard, which is the Avalonian Imperial Navy currency. Well, technically the Avalonian Imperial currency, the Navy just kept using it. And they'll give different trade weights depending on, different exchange rates depending on, yeah. I go for that in games, says Daz, but that don't fly in fiction writing. People don't pay that much attention to money in my experience, but okay, that's not what I want. Okay, there we go. There. Now we'll open this in Photoshop. Eli says, I guess I should be plotting book 4 if I'm going to write it in November. To which Daz points out, Eli, you keep saying that, but then do everything else but. Yep. Red Idea says, my currency is pretty much the same value per country or city-state, but you need it to be certified to each jurisdiction, so I'll have to get them exchanged for one with the crest of each country. And then Red Idea says, anyone know some symbols which represent like imperialism and grandiose self-importance, making the crest for my country's big crown, scepter, a fascish, which, fascis or whatever, the double-headed axe with the rods around it. And in fiction, it's simply so much gold, silver, copper, XXX, name for dollars to buy Y. Yep, exactly. This book isn't as fat as I thought it was going to be. How nice. The only problem is, that kind of fucks up my cover. I might be able to work it, though, if I do a solid rectangle there. Okay. Let's start with and let's get the other bit. Let's see how that fits to start with. And that's the sprint. Shit. All right. Monad says, pretty much any heraldry. Sorta, yeah. Hello, Monad. Good to see you. Daz says, if the haggling or buying of something is part of the story, yeah. I mean, I've plotted up to chapter 2 to 3. That's progress, says Eli. Good job. Right Idea says, that's given me some ideas. Thank you. Excellent. Monad points out purple tends to symbolize royalty, but that's because in this world, purple is a very expensive color dye. It may be different in yours. Good point. Also, ermine fur is supposed to be a big deal, right? And you can, like, it's represented in heraldry by shitbirds. It's represented in heraldry by black and white sort of, and the black, it has a particular design that has points and dots. That is not the file I wanted. Well, let's see here. Yeah. And yeah, that is progress, by the way, Eli, so good job. Yeah, Monad points out that it is culturally relative, and that is a thing, right? Daz says, me, I love to plot. To my mind, it's like build an adventure module. Plot is actually my worst rabbit hole. I could do that forever. How's Aaron? Yeah, Aaron wasn't feeling well yesterday, and I wasn't, I was doing a podcast interview with someone, so I did not have a chance to cancel the stream. Sorry. Yeah, so he just wasn't up to it. He's too sore. He's a little better today. Thanks for asking. Yeah. 4 buildings colored in, says James. Awesome. Dad says, uh-oh, it's a squirrel. Red Idea says, gone for a crown with an axe and sword crossed behind. The crown has the image of 2 crossed keys, subject to change. Need to look up what each of those symbolizes. Well, it can vary exceptionally. Yeah. Oh, good point there, Stretch. I knew I got that from somewhere. Stretch points out that lapis lazuli in ancient Egypt was a sign of royalty. It was much more valuable than gold in those times. Yeah. I used that at some point, and I forgot that it was from Egypt that I got that. So that's cool. Yeah, Billy, you gotta make up your own rules for what they mean. Red Idea says, would it be strange to put a fish and a bottle of liquor on the crest of a glacier city who basically just fish, drink, and fight? No, that would not be strange. Monad points out, and he's right, traditional heraldry is a whole language, but usually to symbolize riches, you'd use something valuable like expensive dye or lapis, like Stretch says, and power through scary animals. Yep. Yeah, he's spot on with that. We did a little bit of heraldry studying when we were in the SCA. That's to get back to work, Growl. Daz, you've just given me free reign, says Red Idea. Yes. Of course, it's actually called Poetic License, says Daz. Pass on well wishes to Aaron, will do. Oh, just filled in Rajar's page for the world of fan fiction. Nice. Monad also says, may be worth bearing in mind that heraldry itself is something that only certain cultures use to communicate. Totem poles or facial tattoos are example of similar things, but very different. Hello, Esong. Thank you for making me write a sentence. I will take that as an admonition to get to work, since I'm not really doing a sentence thing at the moment. I am setting up my book cover for the paperback Amazon version. And how are you? Esong says, that was the intention. It sounded like you're getting lost in the chat rabbit hole. Not inaccurate. And hello, Norwegian writer. Good to see you. I don't think we've seen you in a while. Oh wait, no, you're a first-time chatter. Well, hello. Welcome. I know you followed me a while back. How are you doing? What you working on? With writer in the name, you're clearly writing. Love to hear about your book or your stories. Yeah, lapping hole, surely. Yes, it's definitely a lapping hole. Esong says, I'm doing all right, feeling dizzy and lightheaded today, but I think it's just dehydration. We'll drink more, silly girl. Goodness. Missed your streams, but life keeps getting in the way to making them. Glad I'm able to connect here with everyone. I'm glad you're able to connect too. It's good to see you. I hope you can stay a while today. All right, let's see. Back to work. Open. Go to my downloads directory. Get that one. Now, this one will have to be altered in size, and then I'll have to add the logos and stuff. So how big are you compared to the book that I have? Yeah, you're still smaller. All right. Edit. Step backwards. What is the size of this image? The template. 9.25 inches, 300 pixels per inch. Wow, okay. Hydrate was free, Songbird. Won't hurt us to also hail hydrate. Dad says, my dog chases lapins into their holes if they dare enter his yard. Yep, dogs will do that. Norwegian writer says, would love to be working on a project, but I'm working on an essay. Bah! That's no fun. Well, you're welcome to come hang out with us anyway. Bah, hell and damnation. This does not work. Okay. We're gonna get rid of that. No, we're not saving the changes, you fucking piece of... Alright. How can I get a better quality download here? Let's do that. See how that works. What symbols could be used for a culture which values wisdom? Set of scales, he's thinking? Sure. An eye. I don't know. Thinker pose. A book. Barbarossa comes screaming in saying, Sable, do you want to see my map? I don't know. I would like to see your map, but I don't know that I have time today. Both showcases are already taken. There is one holding, and I am reserving the next 10 minutes to work on my stuff. So, maybe see if we have time, because it would be cool, but... Posture check. Moon says, Barbarossa, you said you would nap. Barbarossa, 3 hours of sleep is not sufficient. You should be sleeping. I love you and we love your company, but if you exhaust yourself, you will be no good to anyone and no fun. An owl, that's a good symbol of wisdom too, yeah. Clutching a scroll, yeah, that's also cool. Illuminati confirmed, says Red Idea, that's great. Yes, ma'am, mopes off to bed. We love you. Come back and show us your map on Wednesday. I would love to see it. Okay, I'm ignoring chat for the rest of the sprint here. We're going to be behind, and I don't care. Sorry, guys. I gotta get work done. What happened here? Oh, for some reason it shut down my Photoshop. Why did you do that? Don't be doing that. Okay. Emote spam chat, so I have nothing to read, so I have to keep on working. That's funny. Okay, you bastard, are you now actually going to copy over properly instead of being a big pain in my ass? Oh, well, yeah, you're much bigger than... Alright, that's fine. Image size. Yeah, 9.25 inches. Alright. .25. Okay. Now. Alright, cool. Now we're cooking with some gas here. You guys are hilarious. Satoru wants me to name something Bob for the next character in a future game or novel. Alright. Hello, Yuri Hallows. You guys are hilarious. Check out Natalia's announcement. Alright, I'm a happy camper. That worked out the way I wanted it to. Now let's get the rest of it to work out the way I want it to. File, open. Woohoo! We're happening here. I am being picky about my book cover. This is for the print edition that I am currently designing. Alright, image size. Oh good, you're the right size already. Bless your heart. Excellent. I think this is probably too big as it is. Yes, most definitely. But that's alright, we can do that. And then all we have to do is fix that little bit there. Which we can do like so. I can make this work. Yes, I can. I know that's way more than I require. We do that. Then we take this. We shift it all. Oh, why is that like that? Well, alright. Am I having a grid thing? Yeah, I'm having a grid thing. That's more like it. Now, not quite. What went wrong there? Oh, it's probably centered and it shouldn't be. That would be what did it. Not quite. And then I can put a border around that. Okay. We are happening here. We are cooking with gas. that is the sprint, and that, unfortunately, is the time that I have to spend on this right now. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Oh, it looks so sharp. I wish I could show it to you guys with secret book stuff, man. This is going to be a good looking book. I'm very happy about this. Okay. Chaotica's art is so awesome. I demand secret access to secret book stuff. The internet has taught me if I type in all caps and highlight my message, I get what I want. Did it work? Nope. Nope. You get to see it later. Later. And this might be, you know, I might have to redo this anyway because it might not actually... I'm currently sort of estimating the overall size of the book. I think I know what it's going to be. A few good elves cover Amazon. Okay. I think I know what the size that it's going to be because, right, I know what size the initial, I got the initial PDF of the print copy back, and I know it has to add 4 pages. And the reason why I know it has to add 4 pages is because it didn't have a table of contents, and I'm like, we need one of those. Please add one. So, save check. Yes, thank you. I just did that, actually. Thank you very much. It's a good idea, and I totally did that. Because, yes, I would really hate to have lost this and fucked it up. You know, let me think about this. High fantasy. Let me think about this because maybe I should show you guys. If I get time, I will show you kind of what I'm doing because it may be important for writers to know. It might be something to get into a little bit more detail with on Wednesday to show you kind of, you know, and then I'll have the finalized cover for, or the finalized print PDF for sure, so I'll know exactly how many pages it is. But there's a trick to formatting this when you're going to publish for yourself. It's hard. It's hard, right? So there's all kinds of stuff that has to be taken into consideration. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, guys. When I come back, we're going to do the showcases. I will see you in a minute. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I had to take a moment and ban a bunch of hosses that I may have missed. So, yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm only going back and dealing with stuff in the chat at the moment that was, like, directed at me. James says, technically I'll have to try and get it into lore that rabbits are called rabbits, but thinks that rabbits as the adjective is not correct and is Lappin. But that's just me. Lappin hole. Lappin burrow. More hosses. Yeah, more hosses. That's the sprint. Red Idea says, I posted a drawing in Sable's general channel on Discord if anyone wants to see. It's woefully bad, but was just a quick sketch. I'll have a look in a minute. Then all the emotes, which is funny. And good to see you, Eerie Hallows. Definitely check out, Natalia is advertising a project, and I would like to add this as a chat command at some point, but I keep forgetting to do chat commands. This is the world of fan fiction. A bunch of us are getting together and writing fan fiction in each other's worlds. With the idea that we will eventually create an anthology out of it. So check it out, guys. Oh yeah, shout out Satoru. He's awesome. Satoru 123. He's really fun. I really like watching his streams too. It totally worked. The emotes are great. Eerie Hallow says, I've realized I'm actually afraid to go out in public, that it's been a month since I've been assaulted, and as per previous patterns, I'm due. This is a real problem, guys. Right? Trans and non-binary people who present as not obvious, like as who present differently from their apparent gender often get assaulted. And I don't have any good suggestions other than self-defense, right? Which I see that, you know, Claire's saying that she doesn't really do well in a fight. She's had lots of classes and just hasn't. Maybe because she doesn't want to hurt people. And I don't blame you. I'll tell you this, the person who wins the fight is the one who wants to the most. Almost always. So if you're in a mind frame where you're like, okay, that's it. I have nothing to lose and I'm going to kick the crap out of this person, all that martial arts training will come back. You won't have to think about it. You'll just do it. At least that's been my experience with my smattering of martial arts and combat sports training. Right? And like I said, I've had some good training from good people, but it's been very eclectic. There hasn't been a lot of formal training, right? So, but, some guy once grabbed my ass while I was standing out in front of the bar waiting for my ride on my, stagette party. And before I realized that I had him in an armbar, he said, I probably shouldn't have done that. I said, probably not. He said, I think I'm going to be going now. I said, you do that. So, you know, the only other time I've been in an actual fight is when I beat the crap out of the school bully that had been harassing me for years. It was literally a Charles Atlas story. And between the two, it gave me a lot of confidence. I'm 5 feet tall, right? And I don't like hurting people, right? So, but I was just so mad, right, that I didn't care. I wasn't feeling any pain. I don't know if that's of any help, because I don't know if you can force yourself to get into that frame of mind. Give me book. Man want book. Okay, I'll show you guys in a bit. How's that? We'll do it after the showcases. Carry mace. That's a good idea. Bear spray. Pfft, right in the face. That'll deter the, you know, biggest swinging dick, you know? Red idea did 4 doodles. Then the last idea was a rearing horse, but doesn't have the artistic talent for that, so just wrote horse. It's illegal? So what? Do it anyway. Seriously. I don't know. How about a perfume atomizer to spray in their eyes? It's not illegal to carry a perfume atomizer. It'll still fuck them up. Right? If you can't see, you can't fight. Alright, that's the growl. Yeah. Claire says, in my experience, the moment push comes to shove, it's basically useless to know a formal fighting method. Yeah, if you think about it, right? Only when you don't think about it does it become useful. That's why you train. Eli says, I didn't take a nap. What nap? I hope you dreamed of a plot, says Daz, who's being real good for that. Manad points out boxing is useful, but if you're doing anything that involves takedowns while standing on concrete, tarmac, or any sort of paving, you're probably going to kill someone. Running away is best. Yeah, if you have the option, run away. The person, like, I'm not saying go look for fights, right? But if you can't run away, right? This person attacked you, right? If their head cracks open on the pavement because you've been bashing their head into the curb with their hair, that's not your problem, man. They started it, you know? Legit fantasy. What people need to do is stop trying to impose their perspectives on others, but I have no idea how to make most idiots understand that. Okay, we're gonna do the showcases now. James, do you want me to do yours first, or do you want me to wait now until you come back from your bath? Paradox is working on chapter 11 in The Painter Next Door. Excellent. Here is James's article. Please wait until I come back. Alright, we'll start with Daz. No worries, hon. Daz's article is here, and we got a chance to look at the map and kind of the initial layout, and now we're actually going to look over it. So, I'm excited. Let's see. This is her challenge article for the ship. Jolly Ho. A Cregan-made jolly boat. I love this map. I think this is the most cheaty goddamn map. I love it. Oars set 1. Gnome enchanted oars that row themselves. They will row only on command and cannot be manually used, only set in place. Unbreakable mast. Once set in place, it locks itself in and cannot be removed unless commanded to do so. This little mast will never break. Stern command. To command the magical parts of the jolly boat, one must be seated in the stern seat. Windy sail. This sail provides its own wind. Oh, that's fucking useful. The more it's unfurled, the more wind it produces, and the faster it drives the jolly boat. What a clever item. Alright, and oars set 2. Same thing, just on the port side instead of the starboard side. Awesome. What is a jolly boat? A jolly boat is the smallest boat carried on board a sailing ship if used at sea. It serves as a common fishing boat or traveling boat when used on inland waters. This use as a traveling boat on inland waters, you don't need all that. Delete that. This use has risen into great popularity. We'll assume that's what you were talking about because you already said that. Right? The master shipbuilder Carillo Cregan has taken to making several with magical enchantments. A Cregan-made jolly boat is 18 feet long and clinker-built. I don't know what clinker-built means. A style of boat building where the hull planks overlap each other for a tight fit. Ah, okay. Another structural feature of these jolly boats is the 1-foot deep keel blade extending along the bottom of the boat. This blade gives the jolly boat great stability on the high waves, making it a very seaworthy little vessel. The main magical feature of the Cregan-built jolly boat are 4 sets of oars that row themselves. They must first be set into their oarlocks, then commanded by the owner. For a greater price, Cregan will add an unbreakable mast along with a windy sail. Both of these can be detached and stowed until needed. When set up, the windy sail provides its own wind. The more unfurled the sail, the more wind will fill it. This is why the unbreakable mast is needed. At full sail, the wind from the sail is so strong it can break any normal mast that would otherwise fit on a jolly. Yeah, that makes sense to me. All the owner of a Cregan-made jolly boat needs to do is sit in the stern seat and command the boat where they want it to go. One last feature Cregan provides at an even greater cost is a warding enchantment. This warding will never kill, though it might harm, any thieves or unwanted boarders. This mischievous ward is based on wild magic provided by House Tamblikir of the Bardican Elves. Neat! What a cool little boat. I see we're having an extended conversation about self-defense and about the occasions when people had to fight. Stretch says it depends on what country you're in. In the UK, if you hit someone, then they fall back and crack their head on the pavement, you are liable. And if you have self-defense training, you have a duty of care over someone if you knock them out. Huh. Here in Canada, the laws are basically if someone attacks you and you defend yourself, as long as you didn't lose your shit and they get broken, like, really badly. They started it, man, as long as they're the ones that hit you first. So you do kind of have to go. I don't remember what happened. I just, I was attacked, I was terrified for my life, and then everything was kind of a blur. Right? Because if you have martial arts training, you can be dinged for things too, but if you kind of, lost your shit because you were terrified and defending yourself, well. Yeah. Good for you on that one, Fantasine. Here's another thing to remember in a fight, guys. If you get under someone's center of gravity, or you cause them to overextend, you're in charge. That's the useful thing about arm bars. And they tend to work really well for me because I'm 5 feet tall, right? If somebody attacks me, odds are they're bigger than I am anyway. So I'm immediately at an advantage because I'm almost certainly, if I give a good yank on their arm, going to be below their center of gravity and throw them off. And if you can throw them off, then you can throw them down. And usually that's enough to deter people. They go, oh, she actually knows how to fight. Let's go find a different target, right? So I'm fortunate that way. Taller people, not so much, right? Especially tall, thin people who don't have the mass, right? Because mass can equal power. All right, so we're going to get back to Daz's article. What do you mean he refused it? Corelio Cregan fumed at his second cousin's youngest daughter, Jarabella? Yeah, it was her job to see to the completion of all boat sails. She was usually very good at it. I put all the enchantments he asked for in it. I'm sorry, Master Corello, Jarabella replied. But he did that. It's not to my liking bit with a lot of dramatic flair people do when they are too broke to pay for what they wanted. Humph. Corello grunted with a scowl. He really can't pay? No, Jarabella said. I had to do some extensive digging, but I've discovered that he was recently swindled on his last venture. See if you can find another buyer for it before sending it home. I will do that, Master Corello, Jarabella promised. You know, husband, those greedy gnomes will just sell that boat to Pearl Shore, Lady Drusilla said to Lord Morton Siltsholes. If I could just sell that boat myself, I could pay off the gnomes and leave us a tidy profit. Then get it back, husband. Lord Siltsholes flashed her a wicked grin. Oh, very good, wife. I will get it back. I know just the fools to hire for a mere promise of getting paid. Oh no, here we go. Merle and Daryl, after a tragic attempt at highway robbery, decided to take the offer from Lord Siltsholes. All they had to do was steal a boat from some puny little gnomes and bring it to Lord Siltsholes' private dock to get paid. You need an apostrophe at the end of the Siltsholes, right? Because that is a possessive, and since the word already ends with an S, you do not add an additional S, but you do add just a single apostrophe after the S. Yeah. All they had to do... Okay, I already said that. What could be easier? That very night... Yeah, famous last words, right? That very night, as the moon shone bright... Nice. They watched the town docks. Merle, Daryl whispered, them gnomes have left. It'll be a good bit until a guard comes by. Merle climbed down from the tree they had hidden in to spy on the Pearl Shore docks. He stretched and yawned. Let's get it, Daryl. Now ain't that a purty sight, Merle? Daryl asked as he stood admiring the jolly boat. Why, it even has a mast and sail we can use instead of rowing all them miles to Siltsholes. Merle grunted and stepped aboard the jolly boat. He began setting the oars in their oarlocks, then tucking them neatly back into the boat. We don't need all them oars, Daryl said as he finished setting up the mast and sail. Yeah, well, I want to have oars in the best rowing spot, and I don't know which is best. Incidentally, yeah, if you want it to be yeah, is spelt traditionally with an H, which at the end of the Y-E-A, which is weird because it's an informal word. It's spelled like this. It might be pronounced ye by someone. If that's what you intended, fine, right? You take the frontmost seat, and I'll take the backmost till we're away from town and can use the sail. Okay, did they mean that deliberately, the frontmost and the backmost? Are these poor fools absolutely unfamiliar with sailing that they don't call it the fore and aft? Because that's funny. And I'm cool with that. I just wanted to know. Merle was the first to find the seat. Oh. Okay. Or yay. Yeah, it could be yay. Good point there, Esau. Merle was the first to find a seat. Daryl hopped off the boat to untie them from the dock. Yeah, jumping back into the boat, he shoved hard against the dock. The boat drifted away. You might want to consider using the word unmoor instead of untie, just because all of your other seafaring lore is very good. And if someone knows about seafaring lore, I mean, there's nothing wrong with untie. It's perfectly fine, right? Just a suggestion for your tone. Take it or leave it. I'm not married to it. It all depends on your intention, right? Let's row, he said, and moved to the seat at the last set of oars. Heaving a put-upon sigh, Merle set his oars in the water. Before he could start to row, the oars twitched in his hands. You need the word his here before hands. Suddenly, Merle was flung out of the boat. Ah! Splash. Merle, Daryl called out. He quickly set his oars in the water and tried to row the boat over to Merle. Ah! Splash! He too was flung into the water. Sputtering up to the surface, Daryl saw the sail had loosened and was dropping down. It was starting to catch the wind. Merle, catch the boat before the wind takes it! The two swam hard and managed to crawl back in over the stern. An oar swung inward and smacked into Merle when he tried to stand, knocking him down on top of Daryl. Oh, this is great. It's like, it's a slapstick comedy. Awesome. Okay. The wind filled the fully open sail and the boat lurched, picking up speed. Daryl? Merle squeaked in a whining whisper from where they lay on the floor of the boat. This boat's got spooks. I love it. Hey, Quigley, how are you? Good to see you. I don't know if you've even chatted in this chat, but well, it's been a while. How are you? Or shall I just call you MJ instead? Daryl, who was watching the sail turn this way and that as it steered the boat, grimly nodded. Here, I'll post the link in the chat again, guys. We're looking at Daz's challenge article for the World Anvil Challenge, which is a ship creating article. Hey, Brian, good to see you. How are you? It's demon-possessed, he whimpered back. The sounds of a waterfall grew louder as the boat carried them along. When the sounds became a roar, they heard, need a D there, everything else is in past tense at the end of here. They heard the warbling call of a very near river lion. Oh no, Merle cried out in terror. River lions could kill and eat a man fool enough to be in their waters. The sail furled up with a snap, and the boat suddenly slowed. The oars swung in again and began attacking them until both men were flung overboard. There's nothing wrong with attacking, but you may want to choose a stronger adjective that is more descriptive, and only one. You know, slapping, paddling, beating, something like that. Nothing wrong with attacking, just throwing that out there. That's the sprint for those of you sprinting. Splash, splash. Emptied of its, you need an S at the end of it there. And just an S, not an apostrophe S, because it's a possessive. Right? And remember the special case of it and its. Okay, emptied of its unwanted passengers, the boat began to row back to the dock. Ha ha, that's hilarious. The falls, Daryl yelled. Swim over to the falls, Merle, so we don't get ate by lions. Bawling in terror, Merle swam for the falls behind Daryl. The water grabbed them, then pulled them over the falls. I think putting over the falls loses some of the impact there. Bawling in terror, Merle swam for the falls behind Daryl. The water grabbed them, then pulled them over. How about that? Ah! Both men screamed until they hit the water below. Moments later, Merle crawled out onto the shore. 20 feet beyond him, Daryl struggled out, coughing up water. At the top of the falls, outlined by the bright moonlight, a male river lion twisted his head this way and that as he looked down at them. He let out another warbling call. Both men swore was a laugh. To hell with silt shoals, Merle swore. I'm done with rivers. Me too, Merle, Daryl agreed. He began walking along the bank away from the waterfall. Waterfall's one word. And in here, me too, comma, Merle. Just, you don't need the comma after the me. Right. He began walking along the bank away from the waterfall. Let's get out of here. Epilogue. Merle and Daryl never returned to the towns of Silt Shoals and Pearl Shore. Lord and Lady Silt Shoals eventually regained some of their lost wealth. They bitterly watched Lord Pearlshore travel about in the Cregan-built jolly boat he has since named the Lady Lion. That's fantastic. I love it, Daz. I love how you're using prose to illustrate things instead of a more typical encyclopedia format. I approve. I like your, I just love your cheating ass map. That's amazing, right? I love the, you know, Jolly Ho title. That's great. Yeah, I'm with you. It's great. I love it, guys. Good work, Daz. All right, we are going to mark that one off the list. And we're going to close this article. Definitely love it. Like, that's... And there's no reason not to do this as a map, by the way. It shows every part in perfect detail and is properly labeled so that people can find it. That's all that's required. Nobody says you have to draw it. I find myself wondering if I can find something similar, but I doubt it. Looks great. All right. Is James back yet? You probably use your Roll20 assets to make one. That makes sense. I have no idea. Aaron's working on something in a mapping program. I don't even know what mapping program he's using, but I don't think he's that enthusiastic about it, and he hasn't been feeling that well, so I'm beginning to wonder if maybe I should do it because I don't want him to feel pressure for something that isn't really his thing anyway, and, you know, I don't know. It's up to him. He can tell me if he still wants to do it or if I should do it my goddamn self or whatever. But that's not what I'm going to start today. I'm going to start the actual article bit, right? So, all right, let's see what happened in the chat while I was gone then. Yeah, okay, related to the previous conversation about self-defense and whatnot. Red Idea says, people always assume I can't handle myself in a fight because I'm not exactly massive and I'm quiet and nice. I hate fighting and try not to, but I do love watching boxing. I think that people often assume by looking at me that I can't handle myself in a fight. As I've pointed out, I am 5 feet tall. That's to get back to her growl, by the way. I am female. People apparently seem to think that means you're not as capable in a fight because of this ridiculous misogynist culture that we live in, which, by the way, is totally factually wrong, right? And, you know, I'm 46, right? So people think I'm mild-mannered until they talk to me. If people get a chance to talk to me, they usually assume I can probably handle myself in a fight. Maybe because I come across very... I almost want to say aggressively, but I've been working on that, so hopefully it's just assertive. Alright. Yeah, most self-defense classes do let you know what the local laws are about things. That is absolutely true, Monad. Thank you for helping me out by not doing the brainstorm format. Conversely, you could redeem the brainstorm format and rely on the chat there, Right Idea, because I'm sure people would help you. And if something comes to mind quickly, I will let you know. Totally up to you. Yep, Fantasine says something I learned in physical therapy. You get a hold of the back of someone's pants at their lower back, you control them. Yep. That is true. And as I recall, Claire, you're tall and kind of lean, right? So chances are you've got reach on just about anybody you're going to fight, right? I don't. Getting close is my only hope because I'm 5 feet tall. If you know how to fight and you know how to take advantage of your reach, I have a real problem getting past it, right? So that's why I kind of got to go low, almost like a football tackle in some cases. I know this from, you know, mostly sports. Like I said, I've only been in a couple of real fights, right? So, yeah. But having long limbs, right, you could possibly step to the side, right, in kind of a triangle format, like on an angle, grab a hold of the bastard's pants and give him a yank and, you know, put him on the ground, then sit on him, right? And, you know, like, because your reach should be really valuable. Siobhan knows how to take advantage of her reach, right? Actually, Siobhan and I fighting, even in like combat sports, is quite hilarious because she can't hurt me because I'm too aggressive, and I can't hurt her because she's too defensive and very good at it. So yeah, it's fun. That is an amazing story, Red Idea. I'll read it just because it's a good story. My uncle used to be the hardest man in Hereford. My other uncle got beaten up by a skinhead called Spider. My uncle walked right into their hangout, pointed at Spider, and said, "You, outside." Spider didn't want to fight, so my uncle said, "I'll fight you with one hand tied behind my back," and put his hand behind his back. Spider still didn't want to. "I'll fight you with two hands behind my back." He placed his second hand behind his back. Spider still didn't want to, so my uncle headbutted him and knocked him out. Actually, yeah, there's another thing, guys. Here, let me help you out. This bone right here, this is the hardest bone in your body. This is a very strong fucking bone. You hit somebody with this bone, it's pretty much gonna crack unless you hit the other bone of the other person. It's called the occipital bone. right? Bam, right? Drive that into somebody's chin, somebody's balls. Not much they're going to be able to do against it, right? Just make sure to protect your neck when you do so, right? Don't like tense up, relax, and, you know, let them have it. Yeah. Is there a lot of competition to be the hardest man in Hereford? I mean, it's Hereford. Yeah, but it's one of them tough working class British towns, right? So probably. Yep. Interesting trivia I didn't know. Stretch says, in fact, ye is actually pronounced the. It isn't a Y. It's an old, now unused letter called the thorn. Oh, they use that instead of thorn, which comes from Thurisaz, which is a rune. Okay, yeah. Which comes from through the Norse, then the Saxons, then the English. Okay, right. So ye old shop is just the old shop. Love it. Yeah. Glad that Quigley got some writing done. Excellent. And how'd your stream go, as Esong says? Good question. Brian says, I'm good. Still waiting on an answer to my question on Discord. Yeah, I'm thinking about it because it's kind of, I don't feel right. Okay. Brian asked me if I would take him through the process of submitting stories to magazines on a kind of one-on-one guide. I have a thought about it and I hadn't had a chance to reply to you. So here's my thought. I don't want your money. I feel uncomfortable taking money for stuff like that from people in the community. But how about we arrange for you to come on my stream on a Wednesday, preferably, or a Sunday if Wednesday doesn't work. And we'll do it live, right? We'll go through and then that way it becomes part of the writing advice stream. And I can show you as I'm showing everybody else. What do you think? Oh yeah, 2 people participated reading aloud on your stream, Brian? That's excellent. Nice. It's hard to get people to do that. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think I'm a good reader. I like reading other people's stuff, and I think it's important to try to put the emotion in it. Brian's not doing the challenge, though. Fantasine says, I'm insane. I'm making my map in Blender and Unreal Engine as a 3D game environment. Other people are doing that too. I do not think I'm that talented. Personal alarm. That's a good idea, Eerie Hallows. Yep, tall with long legs. Yeah, exactly. You've got reach. So what you need to do is learn how to use your reach. If you've had martial arts classes and you haven't yet figured out how to take advantage of that, your teachers have been crap, right? Because they're probably trying to teach you the, you know, bully type fight or, you know, get the kata right. That's not important, really, when you're doing self-defense. So, I'll think about this. I'll talk to Jamie, right? Jamie has done a lot of my training and he personalizes it a lot because I am short and because I also don't respond well to things like kata, right? I have too much ADD for that. I'm easily distracted. And if I think too much about what I'm doing, then I get paranoid because I have PTSD from being bullied in sports as a kid, right? So, but he's very good at working around that. He might have some suggestions for you. I will see what I can do. Because he's very good at that. Self-care aid, a large self-care aid, like, this is one of the reasons why they teach you to fight with staff and all the martial arts, because that's a cane, you know? Oh, I think Monad was suggesting that you carry a giant dildo to beat people with, which also would actually probably be a good idea. In dead seriousness, because they would be surprised. Open palm strike to the nose. That's harder to deliver than you might think, actually, right? Idea. It's, you know, because heads are moving around. And I mean, if you get it right, okay. Unlike all the movies, it will not crack a bunch of little bones and send them into your brain. It doesn't do that, right? But what it will do is put them in such pain and with such pressure on their sinuses that they won't be able to see because their eyes will be tearing up too much. And again, if you can't see, you can't fight. You can also hit them in the nose with the occipital bone, depending on the angle you get, right? It's frightening how many of us know how to harm other people effectively. Yes. Stretch is right. The SAS is based in Hereford. I thought they were. I couldn't confirm that, so I was like, is that true? I don't remember for sure. Last time I researched the SAS was more than 20 years ago. Which was when I had a character who was an SAS member who was in a novel that was the best friend of the protagonist, which I found the manuscript for the other day. And I'm like, oh, I should still write that. I don't feel uncomfortable paying you for your effort and time, says Brian. Nah. Solid ideal, we'll talk more in Discord. Okay. See? Exactly. Right Idea says I would benefit from watching that massively. I'm sure lots of people would, right? So that's why it's useful. And finally, hello, Cat Rights. I'm very sorry I didn't say thank you for the follow when you first came in. I'm really trying to get through the chat kind of quickly here and catch up. But thank you so much for following. I'm sorry for the 10-minute lull before you're allowed to talk. It's a pain in the ass. I have to do it because of all the stupid follow bots and hate raids recently. This just provides an extra level of shielding. So that we have time to react if somebody is being a jerk, right? And I'm sorry it spoils it for the rest of us. I, would rather just chat with you right off the start. With a name like Cat Writes, do you stream and what do you write? I'd love to check it out. So let us know. Feel free to drop your Twitch link in the chat. People are always looking for more writers to follow. So as soon as it lets you do that, right? Oh, good morning, Siobhan. Good to see you. Stretch points out. Also, they would never want to admit they got beaten up by a dildo. Some of those are hard, man. Have you seen those? You guys been in there? I've looked at stuff and I'm like, well, whatever floats your boat, but wow. Brian says, as for taking money, to me, it's the same as paying an artist for your cover art. Well, it's fair. It's fair to charge for your services. It is fair, right? I just feel weird doing that within the community here because for me, the payback is we support each other, right? So I want to support you, but I also expect you'll support me, right? That's how it works. And as long as you're doing that, which you have been, then we're good, right? Yeah, pointing out, and it's again, I'll say yes, it's perfectly reasonable to charge for it. Right? I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying I just don't feel comfortable within this context. But yes, it's the same as paying an artist for your cover art. You have a skill I don't, so getting lessons, teaching a man to fish, feels like something I'm willing to pay someone for. In fact, you have advocated for your work and time is valuable. Yes it is. Yes, it's fair to charge for it. In this case, though, this would also be a pay it forward, right? Somebody helped me go through this, so I will help you. And then you will help someone else. And that is how it works, right? But you like my idea. Dildo hit someone with the Fortnite strategy. Is that a thing in Fortnite, Brian? Awesome. Hey, AG, good to see you. I hope you're doing better than you were when we last talked to you. Did you find a new place to park for the moment? I won't ask if you found a place to live. I'm having the same fucking problems. Is tomorrow the Monday for the Discord chat? Thank you for the reminder, Daz. Yes, it is. Right? So we will do that tomorrow, right? The second Monday, I think we said. So if you would like to join us in our Discord chat, we chat writing. We'll be in the NaNoWriMo channel, a voice channel on my Discord. And yeah, we'll start at about noon. And people will come in and out. We'll probably end sometime around 6 or 7. I don't expect anybody to be there the whole time. I certainly won't be. I'll probably show up for a couple hours and then a couple hours, right? But yeah. We totally need like an anti-Hoss emote. What a tool, right? Brian says, Siobhan, we were complimenting your reach about 10 minutes ago. Yes, I was talking about how Having reach and knowing how to take advantage of it is incredibly helpful to you in a fight, right? Claire is tall and keeps getting attacked by people. She says that she has trouble with, she's had lots of, fighting classes and still can't handle herself in a fight. I think her teachers have probably been rubbish. I think maybe you guys ought to talk, right? Siobhan could help you out. She's tall and thin too. She really knows how to take advantage of her reach. I was describing how we have trouble fighting each other because I'm too aggressive for you to get past me, and you are too good at defense and taking advantage of your reach for me to get past you, right? So, yes. Monad, yes! Monad says, you call that a knife? This is a bad dragon. Some people know, others will require explanations. That's great. Yep, exactly. Oh, trust me, I use my reach, says Siobhan, and I like to extend it, but staff. And that may be helpful too. Maybe Claire should get into the habit of carrying a staff and knowing what to do with it, and I know you could help. Sure you want to take your chance with Chance, says Claire? That's great. Then you demonstrate his egg-laying abilities to them, says Manat. Hey, Haley, good to see you. How are you? Popping in to say hello and good luck with writing sprints. Thank you. Yeah, AG says place is a no, but we are looking with optimism. Major issue is that Hubs is having trouble replacing his stolen IDs after 3+ months. Ouch, yes, that's hard. At least money isn't a problem for now. Yeah, you know what? It's weird how we're kind of in the same boat, right? I have enough money. That's not the problem. The problem is getting the place, right? It's such a shit show. Witchy side, what would be some good intentions to put into a protection charm? Asks Claire. Damn. Off the top of my head, let me think. I think maybe a reflection spell might work, right? Where, if somebody acts aggressively or in a hostile way towards you, it reflects back onto them. Right? Because that's liable to cause people to trip when they're trying to fight you and things like that. So that might be helpful. If you're looking for strength in your own ability to defend yourself, Author Goddess actually knows more about rune magic than I do, I'm sure, right? But the rune that everyone knows is Tyr might be helpful, right? If you're looking at a more defensive sort of rune, the one that it's called, depending on what system, Eel is what I learned, or Ewaz, depending on some systems, but it's the one that looks like a Y with a stick in the middle of the Y points. Algies, yeah. Yeah, people mix it up depending on what you're talking about. But yes, protective stuff, exactly. Author Goddess says, shoves handfuls of money at people, shut up and give me a nice house. That's right. Billy's like, I want to get into paganism so bad. There's so much out there. There's so much out there to read. What most interests you? Right now you have in chat that I know of a practicing Wiccan, a practicing Druid, a practicing Norse heathen, and a practicing, I don't know, I think witch, not Wicca specifically, but witchcraft general is what Claire practices. So you, let us know what you're into and we can probably point you in the right direction. Yeah. There you go. Energy worker / omnistic pagan witch. Exactly. Yeah. Right Idea says it's called the you better back the fuck up before you get slapped the fuck up rune. Yeah. Yeah, Author Goddess has lots of good suggestions there. Obscurement is also good. Things to overlook. I have a really good ritual magic thing for that. It's called the Ritual, the Rose Cross. You can look it up online. I have used that with excellent effectiveness before. You know how in The Eyes of the Dragon, Stephen King describes it's impossible to make yourself invisible, but with enough effort you can make yourself dim? And what that means is that people will find other things to look at than you, right? You know, or suddenly get an urge to scratch or something like that whenever you come in the room and you don't want to be noticed. That's what the Rose Cross Ritual does. Good stuff. Okay, Brian, see you later. Thanks for joining us. Have fun with your D&D game. I never thought I'd get Sable to quote Tupac. Why not? Exactly. Okay, one more break. Hopefully James will be back by then. If not, I'm going to get started on my challenge article. And, oh, perfect timing. Okay, I'm going to run for a quick bio there, James. And as soon as I get back, we'll do your article. And then after that, I will work on the challenge. I may quickly show you what I'm working on for my cover. So, see you in a minute, gang. All right, we're back. Briefly catching up on the chat to the things that are directed at me. And by the way, hi Mooncloud, good to see you. Welcome. We're about to showcase James's article. This is a profession article, Captain of the Messengers, from his Future Scene world. Hail Hydrate, thank you. Hail Hydrate. But, yeah, Claire says, the ritual is giving me a few ideas. I'm not one to use other people's rituals wholesale. I don't find them to be effective. Magic, I find, is very personal, and often you really do have to kind of invest it with your own energy. So if that's what works for you, do what works for you. I believe the key, if you're using the ritual, the key is the symbol, right? Everything else is kind of optional, right? But doing the symbol in all 10 directions, that's the key to making it work. Sometimes I've just done that and it's been effective. So, yeah. I've looked into invisibility spells a few times, haven't felt them necessary until now. They can be really handy. Let's see. I once avoided getting a ticket because of my use of the invisibility spell. Don't, yeah, I'm not going to give you the details because that was bad. You shouldn't do that, but I did. And you can ask Rowan about it. She'll confirm because she was there, right? And the other time it was very effective for me is that I accidentally left my truck unlocked with a bunch of store stock in it in the underground parking garage at the place that I was staying, which was just, you know, a condo, and you could, you know, anybody in the apartments could walk in and out and their guests and whatever, right? And, but I had an invisibility spell on the truck and everything was perfectly fine when I got out there the next day. So you can't confirm that that's what did it, obviously. And if you were, you know, doing a scientific study, it certainly wouldn't be confirmation. But this was downtown Surrey. I will say that. And yes, that's also true. Witchy experience number 124, says Author Goddess. Invisibility spells on cars can result in accidents because other drivers don't notice you. So use with caution. Probably not on busy freeways. That's probably not a good idea. On the other hand, in the one case, actually in both cases, I was driving at night. And there were a few other cars on the road, so a calculated risk. But yes, that's a hazard. Right? Always with magic, unintended consequences, guys. That's why it's good to do divination before you do magic, because it'll tell you about the stuff you didn't foresee before you make a decision. Yeah, Right Idea says, I believe in manifesting, directing thoughts and energy, so paganism seems to me like a logical next step. Yeah, it works pretty well for that. I wrote a book. It's called The Witch's 8 Paths of Power. I tried very hard not to put a lot of Wiccan theology into it, but, you know, because I wanted... Everybody's got their own take on pagan theology. My take is no better or worse than anybody else's, so I was trying strictly to focus on magic, right? I've received several reviews that said it's too traditionally Wiccan for them, so... Okay, but, you know, so letting you know, but it's out there and, you know, it's still selling 7 years after publication, and I think it's a good book. I wrote the book I wanted to read, so it'll take you from basic energy work to advanced techniques of third-degree initiates, if you want to check it out. And yeah, or you can start with hands-on stuff from Claire. Claire knows her shit. Yeah, could evoke for invisibility when traveling between places. Yep. Yep, that's a fact. I mean, I could cheat, says Claire. I'm in good standing with Dionysus, but he doesn't like to step in without an invitation. Facts, and when you're calling on gods directly, sometimes you have no control over what they do, and sometimes what they do is a little overkill. So it's always to be used with caution. But if you're getting beaten up monthly, might be justified. Can buy that book for my girlfriend's birthday, I think. Awesome. Yeah, stuff like that bothers me, says Mooncloud. Well, it's too this or that for me. Then don't fucking read it. Exactly. Right? I made it clear where I was coming from. It's in my author bio. The bio was on the back of the book. You know, people should have known what they were getting. I agree with you. Aww. Author Goddess says, I've been taking pain from baby girl the past few days who broke her arm. Aww. Got her to pass out at 2 a.m. this morning despite the fact that she couldn't take more pain meds. Good job, but I bet you're hurting pretty bad. Wow, I literally meant to type Hermes, but Dionysus was like, pick me. They get along. Okay, I'm gonna read James's article now. Here we go. Captain of the Messengers. We'll repost the link in the chat because there's been a lot of conversation. I'm a bit achy, but not more than usual. I'm glad to hear that, AG. Then you're grounding really well. Good work. And she's like, well, duh. Yeah. Author Goddess knows her shit. Okay. Captain of the Messengers. The captain manages the messengers by assigning where they are stationed, as well as handling the finances of the organization. Duties. The captain will decide on how many messengers will have jurisdiction in each segment. These will include messengers that are successful in that area. Captains include or only consists of, right? Because include implies that there might be those who don't do too well. But captains of the messengers will relieve messengers so that they can have meals. They can be eaten at the office. If they want to buy their own, they can be eaten at the office, comma, if they want to buy their own. Rather than a new sentence. They will swap their polo shirt with something else in summer, or in winter, not go out wearing the red cloak. Comma, as to not be confused as a messenger on duty. Messengers that are good at the administration for the service will more than likely be kept back in the captain of the messenger's office to do it. These messengers will be unable to progress further in their careers, comma, as it will be the messengers that deliver the messages, comma, and know the streets of the segment they work in that will progress to being captains. It's a bit of a long sentence, but you have to put them together. As it will be the messengers that deliver messages and know this and that is a fragment. It doesn't contain the do something part, right? Remember we talked about that last time or the time before. Captain of the Messenger's Office. The captain can be found within the building called the Captain of the Messenger's Office. I like your choice of picture. I realize it's from the City of Ember movie, but it really gives me a feel. That's great. Messengers that can't go to their station, as their zone and segment would be saturated with messengers, will stay, rather than would stay, at the office for administration and counting of funds. The tasks of the administrator are things like colon, not semicolon there, if you're going to do that. Logging the funds raised by a messenger and on what day, as well as calculating what the averages are for the week, month, and year. I wouldn't put a colon or a semicolon there. I would just delete that entirely, actually, because the sentence works just fine. The tasks of the messenger are things like logging the funds raised by a messenger and on what day, as well as calculating what the averages are for the week, month, and year. This is done in the upper floors of the office. Yep, and that's fine just the way it is, without the colon or semicolon. The captain of the messenger's office can be found in segments 1, 4, 7, and 10. Again, you don't need a semicolon there. These can be found in each zone, apart from Zone 1, meaning that there are 16 captains of the messenger's office and 32 captains. I'm confused. The captain of the messenger's office can be found in segments 1, 4, 7, and 10. These can be found in each zone, apart from Zone 1, meaning that seems contradictory. Which is it? Are they found in Zone 1 or are they not found in Zone 1? Right? Meaning that that's the sprint for those who are sprinting? Meaning that there are 16 captains of the messenger's office and 32 captains. The offices tend to be open plan and arranged in a ring on the upper floor. The captains, plural? No comma instead? Not needed. Nope. Nothing. Nothing's needed there. Yeah. They are not found in Zone 1? Okay, in that case, I would say this. The captain of the messenger's office can be found in segments 4, 7, and 10. And I still don't really understand, but these can be found in each zone apart from Zone 1. Okay, do you mean that there are captains of the messenger's office in all of the zones? Or all of the... Oh, I'm sorry, I got confused. Segment zone. I remember now. Never mind, ignore me. It's fine the way you got it. The captain of the messenger's office can be found in segments 1, 4, 7, and 10 of each zone. Yeah, okay, I might put it together then. The captain of the messenger's office can be found in segments 1, 4, 7, and 10 of each zone. Except from or apart from Zone 1. Period. This means that there are 16 captains of the messenger's offices and 32 captains. The offices tend to be open plan and arranged in a ring on the upper floor. The captains themselves will be found on the bottom floor, image left. The offices, you've got the captain themselves and then the offices themselves. I would say, just delete themselves for the next sentence. The offices have the jurisdictions of the next two segments. For example, the offices in segment 1 will have the jurisdictions of segments 2 and 3 as well. Yeah, that makes sense. A little bit more centralized planning. I get it now. Yeah. Messengers from those segments are biased to be in those segments because they live there, know the local area, and know the residents. You have to differentiate there. Or you could say, messengers from those segments are biased to be in those segments because they live there and know the local area and the residents. Yeah. It is also a place where unsatisfied customers can report their complaints. Gotcha, James. I gotcha. Yeah, thank you. It took me a minute. And that's why I said perhaps rephrase this. The captain of the messenger's office can be found in segments 1, 4, 7, and 10 of each zone, apart from Zone 1. Period. This means that there are 16 captains of messengers' offices, etc. Right? And then that way it makes it a little bit more clear. Right? I get what you mean now, and you're accurate. I just didn't understand, and this may be a way to help it flow a little better. Okay. Acquiring the role. How would someone become captain of the messengers? How someone would become captain of the messengers would be through simply being the most experienced messenger of the same jurisdiction as the current captain. The new captain will learn from the current one in preparation to replace the captain when they retire. I get you. How about this? This makes it a little bit more clear and uses the same kind of encyclopedic language, right? Becoming the captain of the messengers is through seniority. The most experienced messenger of the same jurisdiction as the current captain studies under them in preparation to replace the captain when they retire. Right? And then it's a little more succinct. Says the same thing though, basically. You can ignore me there if you want. There's nothing technically wrong with what you've got. Role during lockdown. As part of the disasters and lockdowns procedures, captains are allowed to work, allowing communication to continue. Yes, because they're an essential service. Attributes: type of job, administration and management. Type of employment, core job, one of the ones that they absolutely have to have. Leveled, no. Yet you're either a messenger or a captain. That's it. Let's get back to work, Ralph. Payment, percentage of all messages sent. Percentage of all fees for each message sent is how I would put that. Because do they actually get part of the messages? Probably not, right? Contract type, permanent. Working hours, full-time. Location, various zones and segments. And then related articles, references, and your usual excellent list of acknowledgements. Good work, James. I like this. I really like how you've thought about your system. It makes sense. This is probably the most organized mail and communication system I've seen in a World Anvil world, and I love it. You've obviously really given some thought and attention to how information gets communicated, and that is one of the most important things you need to know when you're working with your national governments, right? You have to know how that works, even if it never comes up in the story, because if you don't know how it works, then you can't estimate how much time information takes to travel, right? So that's really essential, and you've got an incredibly detailed system here. Very practical. I really approve. Extra employment is the one they don't have a choice over. Core job would be the job you hate. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. James is good with the detail. He's thought about his industrial base, his infrastructure. This is a great world. This is why I say, right, James signed up for the fan fiction project. I would love to write a story in this world because I think I get it, right? I've read a lot of his stuff now, and he's really clear about how shit works. Right? I might write a story about someone who's stuck in a core job they don't like and figuring out a way to get out of it and into a different core job, right? I might write a story about a messenger who has a very important message to deliver and they get attacked on the way, right? Or, you know, maybe I'd write it about the message and then kind of go through the different messengers. Like, these are ideas that I've already had because it's just so, you know, he's just given me so much to work with, you know? It's cool. Or I might write a story about the chocolate wars, you know? Yeah, Claire, that feels about right. Claire says, I feel like Hermes will protect me while I'm traveling. I usually invoke Hermes' blessing while traveling. Yeah, and failing that, Dionysus will help me absolutely lose my shit. I'm feeling his revelry as I type this. You know, if it's your life, I think it's okay, you know? And it makes sense that both these deities will work with you because both of them are very genderqueer, right? They're, you know, they have androgynous aspects and aren't really attached to their apparent gender, right? And have that whole fae spirit thing going on. Of course you get along, it's great. Yes, we're doing the Discord call thing tomorrow. Mooncloud says, or the messenger is injured and suffering short-term memory loss and has to find the clues to remember where to deliver the message. That's kind of cool. Oh, you want me to use the 100K? Okay, you're gonna use the, write me a story, or you did already, and I have to write about the chocolate wars. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, I hear you, Claire. You probably know best what works with you. I find that, you know, like I said, right? But then again, sometimes calling out the full power of the deities to, you know, do their shit, sometimes it's warranted. You will have to decide if it's warranted, right? But, all right, we've done all that stuff. And I enjoyed doing the showcases, guys. They were fun, as always. I love reading you guys' work. I love seeing what you guys are working on. Moonflower paid full price to showcase Barbarossa's Rifle Mage dragon species, but we will do that on Wednesday. You should not have had to pay full price. That showcased someone else, and you should have only had to pay $500. It's totally up to you, Red Idea. Oh, 99K for James. He's getting there. That's cool. Mooncloud says Chocolate Wars. It's a military conflict that took place in James' future scene world. The there was a cataclysmic event that they called the Great Rewind, and everyone went back to kind of early industrial technology, right? So the UK tried to open up trade with Africa in order to get chocolate, and they were assaulted sufficiently by pirates in the meantime that they changed their mind and decided to trade for carob from Portugal instead. Right? So it's a very interesting historical thing in his world. Yeah, neat stuff. You want me to write a high seas adventure story? I can do that. I enjoy that kind of thing. Alright. I'm actually going to do this challenge because I haven't even started it yet. We are going to work on... Oh, and I haven't sent my message. Okay. So the other thing I have to do is send a broad message through my author account. This is the shipwright challenge. We're going to make a ship. I know what ship I'm going to make. I want this. I want. Okay. I may open up Dungeon Fog and play with it later and check it out. This video... James, you were saying you would really need videos to be helpful. There's a video from the Great GM that is on that page. You may want to watch it. It's very useful for learning what they want for a map. Not at all right idea. You're welcome to do that. Yep, fair enough there, Claire. And I can just ask. It's up to them if they feel their help is needed, and I can tell they very do. Yep. Well then, warranted. In my opinion. Fantasine says, I need to look into more James stuff, but I'm suddenly seeing thieves in a chocolate black market going on. Could be just my chocoholic side, though. Yeah. Alright, so I'm making the thingy. Oh, look at all these ships already. Good job, guys. HMJ Inevitable by Solar Cat. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. I didn't realize Drunken Panda was an Anvilite. I like how we just have lists of names. That's great. Okay, let's get going. Dashboard. We need the vehicle template. The Aryan Rod's Pride. I wonder if I should be Imperial Navy ship. Aryan Rod's Pride. That's cool. Claire says, I always share a 4-pack of energy drinks with them, not so much as a binary trade, but just out of mutual love. I imagine those guys would like some energy drinks. That'd be a thing they'd go for, I think. James says, Sable, I prefer your idea. Mine was going to be write about a grandfather who has survived the Chocolate Wars and tells his grandchild about it. I mean, that could be used as a framework for it. Oh, Mooncloud says, working on a couple of different stories in the Stolen Moments universe that is emerging in my head. This went from a one-off short story to at least 5 of the characters now looming much larger in my head and an entire lore history unfolding. Nice! Took the night off work because my arthritis is killing me, so playing around to keep my mind off the temptation of sawing my own legs off at the knees. Oh god, yeah. Dionysus has branched out to synthetic drugs in the modern day. Claire informs us, yeah, I'm sure he has. All right. I have not done any of these. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, where is my first starship classification? There it is. Dreadnought is a tree class. Okay. We will create the new article and link it, won't we? Tree class. Dreadnought. Mooncloud says, sorry, writing, gaming, and a dark sense of humor on my pain management is I will not take painkillers. Yeah, totally fair. Digital morphine does work when you get concentrating on things. It really does help relieve the sense of pain. Rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis? I may have some suggestions. Claire says, this is why I never judge what someone puts in their body, simply their actions while under that influence. In other words, enjoy the crack, but don't punch me and use the crack as an excuse. CBD products can be helpful, yeah, for arthritis. Right Idea says, help me sort out the logic of my ship. My ship is actually an ice shelf, which the people of Jata break off from the main glacier and maneuver over to the port of the capital city in the war reclamation. How would I make that possible? Rheumatoid, says Mooncloud. That, all those, stuff like Tiger Balm, like cayenne pepper based stuff, that can be really useful, like that Lakota stuff, that's one of its big active ingredients. Usually, you know, that A535 stuff and other stuff that relies on wintergreen isn't sufficient for rheumatoid, right? So go with stuff that has like hot spice oils in it to reduce the inflammation. This is my herbalist stuff talking, right? So topical cayenne based stuff or topical clove and cinnamon based stuff. Tiger Balm being the most well-known of the lot, but you can find those in various places. There's also a Chinese remedy that uses that and wintergreen together. That can be a very effective combination. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't solve the problem, but it can help. The Pride. In that case, I don't need that, do I? Yeah. Flared up due to uneven ground and the weather. That sucks. That's the sprint, by the way. Yeah, the right idea, your ice shelf. How would you maneuver a massive ice shelf with a small army and its supplies on it? Are we doing this with technology or magic? Let's start with that. Do they attach anything to the ice flow to make it do, like, do they attach an engine of some kind or a rudder? Magic and naval technology. Do they have elemental magic? Do they have, like, you know, Elsa powers? Can they shape shit out of snow and ice? Yeah, now you have to watch the Frozen movies as well as the Ice Age movies. Yeah, they could drill holes to erect masts and use sails. If you have a rigid enough material, you can rig a rudder for steering. Yep. Not easily, no, says the right idea. They could, however, summon winds. Would a large sail be adequate? I'd say 1,500 soldiers in head armor. The trip will take a few days. Depends on the size of the sail, how maneuverable you want the ship to be, and how strong the material is that you make the sails out of, right? Because here's the thing, right? Material will only take so much abuse. Wind actually applies a lot of pressure. The reason why tall ships are configured like they are, tall ships, just a second, tall ships, sail diagram. Let me show you. Alright, so let's take a look at this guy. Okay, each of these sails does a different job, right? In general, right, they're used for both propulsion and steering. More often, the staysails, the top gallants, the forecourse or foresail, right, they tend to be used for propulsion more than anything, right? Right, but it's also about steering because the angle, it's kind of like driving you know how when you drive a forklift, it's kind of anti-intuitive, and turning things, you know, the opposite way from how you would do it in a car is what makes it work. Sails are kind of like that. If you want to go forward, right, just having straight sails into the wind is probably not your best deal. You kind of want to catch it on an angle, but if you catch it on too much of an angle, then you'll turn, right? So each of these sails catches the wind in particular ways and is geared towards propulsion and steering, right? The rudder also steers, which of course you can't see in the sail diagram, right? But this stuff does as well. The keel, the blade on the keel, is designed to keep the ship balanced while it's being pulled by all these sails, right? It's really, really basic stuff. So the thing is, if you've got a big floe ice, okay, it's a tug, right? It's a big fucking thing, and it's going to steer like an elephant, you know? Actually, elephants are more maneuverable, right? Because It's not shaped for it. It's going to kind of go, you know, it's going to turn sluggishly if at all, right? Like a ferry. That's to get back to work. Yeah, lateen sails also helps with balance. That's a good point. That's the stuff that goes out the side, by the way. Yeah. So, you know, it really depends. Do I think one sail would do it? Highly unlikely. Because I don't know of any material that's that strong. If you have a fabric that is unrippable under any circumstances and doesn't decay, maybe. Otherwise, I think you're going to need some mass if you want it to work by sails. Okay. Right idea is thinking 2 large sails, a large rudder, probably iron or made of ice as well, outrigging for stability. You definitely don't want iron, and the reason you don't want iron is because iron decays very quickly in salt water, right? One of the reasons why wood has been traditionally used as long as it has, right, up until recently when we started using, in many cases, some high-grade plastics, right, is because it expands and contracts more easily with the changes of temperature and pressure and doesn't tend to be, like, corroded by salt, right? Iron rusts. So, yeah, that's true. It's a fantasy story. It doesn't have to be realistic, but if you're trying to give it some kind of realism. Wood is hard for them to come across. I'm thinking magic plus ice. Do they have the technology for stainless steel? That might work if it were like thick enough. Yeah, agreed. Never let realism derail your fantasy story. It's quite true. 2 masts will probably work if the sail material is sufficient. 1 fore, 1 aft. You could always go with the whole rowing oars thing. Oh, I'm sorry there. Claire, I don't know, I missed it. Lateen sails? Oh, you don't get along with the Fae. Okay. Well, sometimes Fae don't get along with Fae because they drive each other crazy because of capriciousness. Yeah, titanium. Brass might work. It only needs to get them there, not back. It's sort of an all or nothing attack. Yeah, okay. They could manufacture one out of iron then, and it should work. It's just it won't have any maintenance value, right? It won't last. Now, the reason why they use heavy canvas for sails is because it takes a beating. Wind beats shit up. Have you ever put out a windsock? You know, and then seen the damage within a year? Right? Wind can make a mess of shit. So if you want sails to last, it has to be good quality material. And if you want it not to just tear in the first storm, it also has to be good quality material and thick. Thick, 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 thick. Right? A lot of the steering of the sails is done by the ropes, which are called sheets, which seems counterintuitive to those of us who think of sails as being sheets, but the ropes are called the sheets. And that's how they direct the sails either to open or close or go around the mast at an angle so that they can be, you know, used to drive the ship. And this tilting, this angle that they've got here, this isn't just for the artistic value of being able to see the full sail. for the labeling, it actually does have a bearing, right? Because they tend to be kind of at that sort of side angle to propel forward. And then they would set the spanker to level it out and some of the other stuff as well, and the rudder, right? And that gets you often the fastest speed, because wind comes in walls as opposed to points, right? So it's a few days down the coast. I think it'll be using mainly the natural currents, and the masts and such will be for steering. Okay? Yeah, Claire agrees with my observation there. That makes sense. Mooncloud says, suddenly seeing them driving holes in the bow to shove iron spikes in as they are not expecting to bring it back. The ice flow from hell. That is a great idea, actually. Yep. Red Idea agrees as well. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Why not? Ram the fuckers, right? Okay. And it's okay that I got a bit off topic, because this is kind of important for what we're discussing. You're probably looking at something like that in terms of sail configuration, right? Because you said 2 masts? So I will copy the link to this into the chat for you, if that is of use. It's more like a sloop or a cutter than a galleon or a schooner. It'll make it really clumsy, I have to say. It'll be clumsy as hell because it's huge and they're trying to drive it with 2. Now check this out. We got a 4-master here, right? This is an 1899 sailing ship, right? This is when ships were beginning to make the transition from sailing ships to steamships, right? So this is probably one of the last of the sailing ships, and it's probably an ironclad, right? So if you're trying to drive a big bastard fast, this is probably your best arrangement. You are more than welcome for the help. And it's useful to anyone who's working on ships. I have to think of my own ship configuration. Yeah, I have a feeling it's meant to be sort of a clumsy tug. Yeah, could be. Right? Because, yeah, if they're only driving it one way and crashing it into something, fair enough. Now this is basically the configuration I want to use. I wonder if I can, like, redraw this. Yeah, Mooncloud, it's big, it's tough, but damn, it steers like a drunk cow, yeah. James hears the word ironclad and pays attention. Yeah. I was talking about this. This is probably one of the early ironclads, because it's 1899, and this is probably when they started transitioning from, you know, sailing masted ships to steam. Sapling has entered the chat. Hello, Sapling. Good to see you. We're talking about ships and the challenge. 99.1k, says James. Waiting for his story. Claire says, been thinking for a while that it might be worth expanding my personal set of deities to include Apollo. I mean, Hermes, Dionysus, and Apollo. Collect them all, right? It might be worth it to reach out to him. He can be temperamental, though. Red Idea says, I think I sort of want it to be clunky because it's a mad idea from Barbarossa Sparklebeard, yes, Barb's character, who's an ice pirate, and they bring him on board to help with tactics. And he's a brilliant tactician, albeit crazy. That is cool. Well, curse it all, I think I might have to draw my own image of the Aryan Rod's pride. Bah! Okay, let's check it out. Stretch says, Sable, whenever I hear ironclad, I keep thinking this. Okay, I'll check it out. Sapling says, I got off a skyblock run of about 3 hours, needed a break, and thought I could stop on by. Well, of course you can. Okay, see you tomorrow there, Right Idea. Thanks for joining us. See you on the Discord chat. Oh, and then James posted what he thinks of when he thinks ironclad, so this is what Stretch thinks of. Yeah. Well, that'll kick some ass and take some names. And this is what James thinks of. Ah, the HMS Warrior, yeah. 1860. Yep. This is a famous ship. Like the figurehead. Let's have a look. There she be. See them big boats. Notice we got smokestacks, but masts. Mooncloud says, being American, my head goes to the Civil War ironclads. Also a legitimate thing. There was some really interesting naval warfare that was involved in the Civil War and the War of 1812. And that is the last sprint, guys. Siobhan says, Sable, since the conversation of different religions has come up yet again, maybe we should figure a date for that combination stream. It's going to have to wait till I move. I've already said that now, and when I get moved, then we'll talk about it. Yeah. I just don't have time before that. I'm sorry. Mooncloud says, the British Navy required masks on all ships until just before World War I in case the steam engines failed. Yep. Legit. Okay. No move updates. Still looking into a couple places so we have leads on. Alright. I'm going to recapture a different window here. Okay, so secret book stuff. Here's your preview, because I said I might do this before I left. Now, when you get your template from Amazon, it looks like that. You get that by typing in, when you're uploading, right, the size you want to print the book at. 6x9 is fairly typical for a trade paperback, right? It also makes a decent hardcover, so I usually use the same template, right? When I go to Ingram Spark, you can't do hardcovers by printing them through Kindle, Amazon, and that stuff. You can only do the trade paperbacks, but you can do hardcovers through Ingram Spark, and it's one of the reasons why I do it. So generally, when I get this, the first thing I do is I make a copy of it, right? And I use the magic eraser to take out most of the white stuff so I can see where the lines are, right? Okay, then what I did, break down the layers here, is I take the cover picture, make sure it's the same size and DPI, because that's important, and line it up. Now, as you can see, it's a little longer than the surface space that I need, but Chaotica was making sure that I had enough room. So in order to do this properly, oh, see, Author Goddess? Oh, you said, what did Author Goddess say that I missed? Where was it? I missed it. I don't know what it was. It disappeared in the chat. God damn it. I don't know what it is. Oh, she's going to supper. Okay, see you later, hun. We'll be back tonight for our game. So, anyway, so I took that, but as you can see, it doesn't quite line up. Right? So then I have two choices. I can either go back to Chaotica and say, can you make a smaller version and blend this in somehow? Or I can try to make it work myself. So what I did was this, right? I took a PDF of the book cover front. Oh, did I just lose power here? It said, welcome to my chat room. Did I get, like... Okay, whatever. Okay, so then what I do, right? Wrong thing. Okay, back here. We take the copy of the template that I made, where I magic erasered most of the white away. I got the Twitch skip. Okay, and then this tells us how to line it up. The cover has to fit in here in this section on the right. I use Canva to create my cover and font images. So, in order to get the title looking like I wanted to, I had to do it in Canva. So I added that there. That's my original image. Right? As you can see, this doesn't quite line up. This is important. Right? So I put that in there. Right? But it's got my fonts. You notice that it doesn't say Toy Soldier Saga yet, or In the Stars, even In the Stars, War is No Great Adventure, right? That's because that kind of smaller text is better done at the last stage so that it looks as pristine as possible. So I took it off of my original image so that I would not be stretching it or manipulating it so that it would be clear on here. But this kind of writing looks okay. In order to make it look right, though, I had to use the big PDF with 300 DPI. Downloading the ping image did not work, the PNG. So, set that up like that. Okay, then I realized, if you look closely here, you can barely tell, but you'll see that this is where it doesn't line up. There's about the same length or space as the border here. And that border is for, don't put anything you really want precise on this border, because things shift in the machine and it might not end up exactly where you want it, right? So that's why they have those guidelines for the borders. This big yellow thing is where Amazon puts the barcode, right? Otherwise it doesn't, right? Like the Ingram Spark version won't have that. You have to add it yourself. Okay. Fuck. Okay. So back to this. Then what? But as you can see here, there's a little space where it doesn't line up, and this is obviously the background image. Now, what I can do, this line here, that line closest to the left here, of the front cover image, that's where the fold in the book is going to be. So if it doesn't precisely line up around that fold, that's probably okay. If I'm really picky about it, I can put a colored border roughly where these borders are. So what I did instead, now I have to make those disappear in order to show you. This is the original image, okay, of the cover. Then I have another image of the cover, which I shifted over. Oh, and I see it isn't precisely lined up anyway, so I'm really kind of glad that I have the opportunity to screw around with it. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Okay, we need to go on this layer. And why we did that is so that if you look closely here, when I put the other layer over it that has the title. Oh, I see. That's why I had it. Alright, edit, undo, move. And now I gotta move them both down. See, because notice this doesn't line up here. So it's a lot of fidgety crap, right? Now that should line up. And how I'm doing that is I'm just toggling off the visibility. So I'm going to end up with this line here. That's going to be about where the front cover is going to fold over, which should be fine. This tells me roughly where I want to make sure everything is kind of variant, right? Good night, Claire. But if I'm really picky about it, what I could do is I could put a black border here or a gold border to match that. Ah, I see. And I need to do a little bit of minor surgery here. Which is probably actually better done with this, because it wasn't quite in the right place when I did the cut. So I've got a little bit of the black here that I don't want. Oh, but I have to be on the right layer. So that's this one, I think. All right. No. That's the layer I want. Now, no, not quite. It's a lot of fidgety shit, guys. Nope, still not right. Oh, I see it's snapping to grid. Fuck off. Anyway, it's fidgety stuff. Okay, that's it. But basically, with a little bit of finagling, you can get it to work. There! Or conversely, I could remove this layer entirely. And then replace it. But you get the idea, right? Anyway, that's basically how you design the cover for your indie published book. The template for Ingram Spark is a little different, but it's very much the same principle. And this is one of the reasons why I do this stuff on this computer, because it's got the bigger screen, so it's easier to see what you're doing. What? Dumbass thing, what the hell? I don't think that's right either. See, I screwed it up the first time, so now I gotta fix it right. Okay, I think that's right. We want to be on that layer. Almost. I didn't realize what detail that was on the edge of the map. It's still glowing with cinders. Oh my god, that's great, Chaotica. You can't see that up close usually. Okay. Anyway, that's the basic idea. And then from there, right, when you got all this set up and your extra stuff and whatnot, like I could make this whole binding a solid color if I wanted, right? And then that's where you would put the stuff that you would see on the shelf. So I would put the title, A Few Good Elves, right? Diane Morrison, right? Hopefully I can get a similar look to this font. It won't be at quite the same angle, but it'll be close enough. I'll probably have a little doodad on it that says Aradia Publishing, because that's what I do. And then over here, there'll be like a blurb, and this will be like either a blurb or author name and description or something, and then the barcode with the ISBN will be there, right, where the big yellow thing is. Then when you're all done, right, you delete or make invisible this top guide layer before you rasterize everything. and then it makes your full wraparound cover, and you upload that as a PDF to Amazon or Ingram Spark, and there you go, book cover. All right, thanks everybody. That was a lot of fun. We will be back in, let's see here. All right, so about 2 hours and 45 minutes for our Sunday night game, Toy Soldiers Old School, Pathfinder First Edition. So that would be 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC, 2 a.m. in the UK. What is that? Let's see. 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday for those of you in the Australian Eastern time zone. Monday is our day off, but feel free to join us in our Discord chat, which we will do starting at about noon, about on that specific time, so 3 p.m. Pacific. You know, the time I usually stream, right? 3 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. UTC, 8 p.m. in the UK, 5 o'clock in the stupid morning for those of you in Australia, sorry. But night owls might be willing to join us, and we'll be, you know, we had a great time last month. We did this instead of Twitch, on a day off Twitch. We've decided to make it a monthly thing. We're going to have a great time talking about writing, world building, all that sort of stuff in a free voice chat, which we will rotate people out of, right? Because we don't want to become overwhelmed. Or maybe we'll split up into 2 different chats. I understand they did that last time. They had a great time. Otherwise, Aaron will be back on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UTC, 10 p.m. in the UK. I want to say, I don't remember what time that is, Eastern Australian time. 7 o'clock in the morning, I think, right, for Ask an Old GM. And I'll be back on Wednesday. We are going to raid... Unless I miss my guest, the only writer I know who's on right now is Akira Twilight, and I never get the opportunity to raid her, so I am looking forward to that chance. We're going to do that. Thanks again, and I will see you guys in a couple of hours. Have a great rest of your time zone.